Can everybody hear me okay? Can everybody hear me okay now? Good, thank you. Welcome to our August Resident Association meeting. I apologize, but Lee has got a cold and decided not to spread the goodwill among us. We also agreed to keep her not being here confidential because otherwise nobody would show up if they knew I was here. We have a very extensive program, so time is going to be of the essence. I'd like to roll through. I will start with a moment of silence, then I will show the agenda. This will briefly show you the agenda, and it's very extensive, so time is going to be the essence. And by the way, Vic, thank you, but have your firefighting clothes on, please. With that, let me begin with a moment of silence. Thank you. Was that our second moment of silence? I'd like to introduce new residents we have here, two of them. Nancy Ecklander, who's moving into apartment 125. Nancy, are you here? Perhaps not, still moving in. And Ann Riffy Buckner, now moving into 205 South. Ann? Still moving in also, but welcome our new residents. We're very vitalized by having new people contribute to our community. With that, let me introduce Adam.
Good morning. Just a few announcements here. You do have a pack. Just a quick thank you to those who've attended the coffees and lunches with me. Greatly appreciate the time together. There are some availabilities in September. If you haven't attended one yet and you'd like to, please see Stephanie. I think last time we were together, we talked a little bit about, we had an engineering evaluation of the apartment building's air conditioning issues. And I said that we'd have a report last week. The report's been delayed. So once I get that, I expect it towards the end of this week or early next week. You know, we'll take some time to review that internally, and then we'll share the results with you at a future meeting. For those who had the opportunity to attend the health fair on Friday, that was a good time. Hope you enjoyed it. It looked like a good turnout. It was a good event. So we thank the HR and fitness wellness staff for pulling that together for us. And also thank you to those who've turned in capital request ideas. We'll be looking at those sheets, going through the process of reviewing them with the resident council also, as we start to prepare to get into the budget cycle here in the near future. And lastly, is anyone interested in talking about landscaping? So kidding aside, you know, we got the list, the correlated lists of the concerns. I did have an opportunity to go on 4 different mornings of tours of campus with members of the resident council, and saw some of the concerns in person. So we have a pretty good idea of what's wrong. Now we got to figure out how to fix it, which might take a little bit longer. So just be patient with us. We're going to come up with a plan to address many of these concerns, and we'll communicate that as we work through it together. But we have the information. We can see what's going on, or in some cases not. And then we'll work to address that, and we'll make sure that we keep talking about it until we get it straightened out. So any questions for me about these issues or anything else I can help you with this morning? Yes.
An update on the ICANN in Anderson. Do we know what's up with that?
I have no idea. It looks like Vic does.
By Wayne has ordered one, so can we run Kendall Connect instead of Katie? So it is progress. If we couldn't use the old one, unfortunately, it was locked down by the old vendor, so we had to order a new one.
Okay.
And so does it work?
It's in the works. Anything else? All right, thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Adam. Good morning. Can everybody hear me? All right, so I'll keep this short. I know we've got a lot to do this morning. So this weekend, this Saturday, the Community Festival in Lexington downtown. If you've never been, come by. We'll be happy to give you some details, but our booth for Kindle will be set up right in front of the public library. So hopefully that gives us some shade, which is what I was going for there. We'll hope that works out. Other than that, we have the Beer and Wine Festival, which we are also sponsoring on September 6th. Hope some of you come out for that as well. And we'll give you some more updates of things we have coming up for the fall. But otherwise, Kevin's on vacation, so here's Chris to give you some data.
Good morning, guys. So like Sarah said, Kevin is on vacation today, or this week rather. So you're not going to be getting his smooth radio voice to give you the updates today. You're stuck with me instead. I'll do my best though. Our wait list currently stands at 231 people, with the ready list at 69. That continues to be a strong sign of the interest people have in joining our community, which is fantastic. We've had a number of tours recently, 9 from right here in Lexington, and others from Stannardsville, Virginia. I am been a lifelong Virginia resident. I've never heard of Stannardsville, so I hope I'm saying that correctly. Mansfield, Pennsylvania, Santa Rosa, California, and New Hampshire. 3 of these guests chose the Try It program and stayed at Sunnyside, which gave them the opportunity to experience life here at Kindle firsthand. We've also welcomed 2 neighbors. On July 31st, Nancy Englander moved into apartment 65. And on August 7th, Ann Riffy Buckner moved into apartment 205. So we're so very pleased that they are here, and I know you'll make them feel right at home. Looking ahead, we have 2 upcoming move-ins. On September the 10th, David and Melissa Cox will be moving into cottage 1003. And October 13th, Bill and Zora Jenkins will be moving into apartment 3 in the South Building. We've also welcomed 6 new waitlist members from Virginia. That includes folks from that includes folks from Lexington, Alexandria, and Norfolk. From out of state, new members joined us from New Brunswick, New Jersey, Mansfield, Pennsylvania, and Sight Unseen from Port Jefferson, New York. Overall, it's encouraging to see so much interest, from tours and try-it stays to new move-ins to new memberships, all reflecting the welcoming spirit that you, our residents, help create every day. Thank you so much, guys. I believe Jen is up next.
Good morning, everyone. So a couple quick updates. So hopefully you saw the email or the sign downstairs, but we have an ice cream social this Thursday at 2 o'clock in Anderson for all our residents. Our goal will be, we're going to do these every couple months, and we're going to test a new ice cream flavor each time. So this time we have orange blossom, which is going to be like a creamsicle for a light summer, and salted caramel brownie. So we hope you'll join us. It'll be a lot of fun. Other quick updates, we will be changing the menu in the restaurant very soon. So starting the first week of September, we're going to be moving to a different structure. That's kind of the best word I can think of. So right now we have a menu with 10 or 11 entrees on it, if you include the salads. And Sean is prepping 10 and 11 entrees every week. But some are not as popular. And someone's chatting, put a comment. I'm not sure where to look for that. We're going to be going to a smaller menu that changes more frequently. So basically every 4 weeks. So we'll go to 4 or 5 entrees. It allows us to have less waste. It allows Sean to really focus on being creative, which will be fun. You all know he likes to do that. So the other wonderful advantage of this, I think anyway, is that we'll do a tasting every time we do a new menu. So like we did with the last new menu, so our first tasting will be September 3rd, 2nd. The Wednesday, I think September 1st is a Monday. So Wednesday, the 3rd will be our first tasting. The menu will start on the 4th. And we will run, and then we will do another tasting October 1st or 2nd, whatever that Wednesday is, and we'll run a new menu. So for those of you who are concerned that you can't get your crab cakes or your filet on this first menu, this menu will not be as dramatic a change. You will still get your filet and the crab cakes, and then we'll see what happens going forward. So we wanted to let you know we're going to make some changes so Sean can be more creative, we can have less waste, and hopefully bring some more fun to the restaurant, encourage folks to be there. Those are our big updates at the moment. Does anyone have any questions? All right, thank you much. All right.
All right, good morning. Can you hear me okay? All right, I'll quickly go through my long list of updates. First thing on it is we've hired our new preventive maintenance technician. I figured that was Bob Harrison first, right? If you're involved in the facilities committee, you'll know there's been an effort for a long time to try to get in front of things and not just be reactive and fixing things, but be proactive and doing more adjustments, cleanings, lubrications, things like that until like, well, it's broken and now we got to fix it. That's hard to do with a 6-person maintenance staff. So I lobbied for and successfully got a hire of a preventive maintenance tech whose sole job will be that spreadsheet, and it's going to be a giant spreadsheet. He's doing the drinking from the fire hose learning curve. He's basically creating the spreadsheets and things at this point, but you'll be seeing him a lot as he goes, residence to residence to do this. So I want him to introduce himself so you know who he is.
Hello, everyone. My name is Anthony Fitzgerald. I grew up here in beautiful Rockbridge County, and for the past 10 years, I've been working on building and working on custom homes with Tom Beebe Construction in Seven Oaks. I'm excited about this opportunity, and I'm looking forward to working with you all. Thank you very much.
All right, so going down my list here, the capital and operational budgets are underway. I've got tons and tons of spreadsheets and emails and things on my desk. Only one is done so far, so there's a lot. But Felicia hasn't thrown rocks at me yet, so I guess we're okay. So, project-wise, the Sunnyside roof project is complete. There's a few punch list items on that they owe us, and some landscape damage to repair and things like that. Minor things, but the Sunnyside roof effort, including the snow catchers, is done. The Sycamore roof effort for this year is done as well, from the same company. The Sunnyside HVAC project is complete. We're going to add some screening plants in front of some of those new units that were put in. You may remember we went from 8 zones to 10, so each residence room has their own unit and isn't stuck dealing with whatever their neighbor wanted. So that meant some new exterior units had to go in. At the appropriate planting time in the fall, we'll be putting some screening plants in front of that. The fitness center HVAC equipment came and was installed. We've got a couple little learning curve pains with that, and a nearby system decided it didn't like having a new brother next to it, so it broke. But Cole's working on that, and largely most of the new stuff is working, and you should see some improvement down there shortly. Adam already talked about the VRF system that we were working with. The last fire marshal inspection, I told you when they were here on July 10th, we did get their written report a couple weeks ago with 0 citations this time. That is the first time I can, that's the first time I can find ever in the records that happened. So I really thank Dave and the crew who runs around all day fixing things. And then when the fire marshal comes saying, look, Bigfoot, so the guy doesn't look at him. So, but we did okay this time. I told you last time I found a second elevator company to give us some information to work on elevator quotes for our refurbishments we do. I got their proposal yesterday. It's 2.5 times what the company we've been dealing with is cost-wise. So now we gotta look at the spreadsheets and look at the magic 8 ball and decide, do we deal with a company that takes 2 years? Or do we pay 2.5 times what we budgeted and thought it should be? So that's terrible, but I'll have to make a decision. We'll figure that out shortly. The State Corporation Commission was here on July 23rd, inspecting our gas lines and our gas safety program. You may remember I briefed y'all that they came in January of 2024, and we got 70 violations identified in their report for that. Most of them are what I would describe as bureaucratic paperwork in nature. No actual gas safety concerns, but they're like, hey, where's your checklist to verify your employee has gone to the federal Part 192 paragraph J certification? And I'm like, so we've been working on that for over 1.5 years, 70 violations. We had 8 this time. That's a huge improvement in my opinion. And again, a lot of work on the guys for that. But I'll tell you, the SEC was not happy that there were 8. They chewed on us pretty hard, and they're like, well, we'll have to see what kind of enforcement action we do and all. So I don't know. I've been sending them an update every 15th of every month about what we're doing and what we're working on to do that. You may recall, part of that is having that Part 192 certified contractor sign off and train your staff. There's no one on this side of the state for that. I found a company in Ohio who said, well, I have a 2-year waiting list, and if you want me to jump you to the front of the list, it's going to cost this extra $100,000 and everything else. So we've reached out to 2 other companies, no one in Virginia. We have 2 in Pennsylvania I've reached out to. I haven't gotten their extortion back yet, but we're working on that. The other workaround for this is to work with Columbia Gas and no longer be our own gas distribution folks. Because for those of you who know, the big meter over on Sycamore, Columbia Gas owns it to that meter, and then we technically are the gas company from that meter to all the residences and all the places that use it. We get out from under this bureaucratic requirement if Columbia Gas gets rid of that meter and puts a meter at each residence. And just like we have on Sunrise Ridge, we're not the gas company. Columbia has its own meter on each one. The older parts of the property here, we have to work the distribution solution. So our plan B is we're also working with Columbia Gas to say, we don't want to do this anymore. We cannot comply with these, bureaucratic regulations. So we want you to take it over. That's also expensive and disruptive. So we'll see which of those 2 we end up going with. Sycamore Hill, you may remember the Chesapeake Bay Foundation zone. They recommend after, once we're into year 4, don't mow. Let those tree planting areas turn into a forest and do their own thing with no further mowing or anything like that. We were getting crushed with invasives if you've been up there, and the trees were basically growing very slowly and going to be crowded out by the invasives. So with their concurrence, and I guess the extension folks and lots of other smart people we asked, we hired a contractor and did an invasive reduction mowing up on Sycamore Hill. We'll probably continue that twice a year using our own in-house brush hog, just until those trees grow and are able to hopefully shade out some of that. But the pervasive nature of how many invasives were up there, we decided it was not appropriate to just let that go, because it would not be trees up there if we did that. The 3rd floor north building has the exhaust fan systems connected to the bathrooms and other things. Those fans have failed, so we're working on that as well. It's probably going to be a new system Cole and I are looking at, with one big master distribution fan rather than each individual ones. We'll tie all that together. All that work will actually be done in the attic though. So it's not going to be intrusive, other than your bathroom exhaust fans aren't working in the short term. As the weather's starting to turn cooler a little bit, we'll be resuming the attic insulation project. We've sent some guys up into the attics last week or 2. They did not spontaneously combust, so it's probably okay to start getting back on that. We've done about 90,000 square feet of attic space. So we'll be resuming the north building and then moving on from there once we go. Dave, our maintenance manager, goes out tomorrow for another medical thing. He'll be out for several weeks, so we wish him luck for that again. Kenny will be the acting interim maintenance manager in his absence, so you can save all your torches and pitchforks and find Kenny in the back and chase him instead of Dave for a few weeks when we go. And the ATC alarm replacement project is moving along. They're actually a little bit ahead of schedule. They've wrapped up the new fire alarm system in the cluster cottages and in the south. When they come back next week, resuming work in Maine here and then moving on to the north. So that's months and months of work, but it's moving along. It's on schedule okay. Kind of tied to that is Wayne working with the nurse call system. So he's going to come up and give you some details on that while he's walking up here. Were there any questions for me or anything I missed? Yes, sir.
Todd, does the scope of the new preventive maintenance program include the health center? So for example, appliances, kitchen, HVAC units, rooms, that kind of.
The initial round of it is based on IL only, but we're creating it from scratch. So what it's going to look like in a year as we get to steady state, I don't know. I think with the commonality of some of the equipment there, it certainly makes sense once we know what right looks like and we've gone cottage to say, hey, this is the same equipment, same type of stuff there. Let's add it to the spreadsheet, put it in the rotation. I just don't have that yet. Anything else for me? Okay, Wayne will tell you some info about nurse call. Thanks.
Good morning, everyone. I was not officially on the agenda today, but Todd graciously gave me a moment of his time, so I jumped in here. And so just wanted to give you a quick update on the nurse call system. Hopefully you guys have been receiving my emails, but just wanted to let you know that we're making great progress. So we've been around most all of IL. We've got the new pull cords installed. We've been through Webster. We were over in Borden yesterday. We'll be back up on Sunrise Ridge today. I know you guys up there, we've already deemed your pull cords to be okay, but we just need to test them and we need to test your pendants to make sure they work correctly on the new system. So just wanted to take a minute to let you guys know, at the end of this process, we're going to end up with two different kinds of pull boxes. I brought a couple up here to show you, but what's happening is some of them are getting set off accidentally, and the new boxes are going to be that way, and they come with a really nice, beautiful red pull cord, and our feline friends love those. And so we've been having some accidental pulls. So just wanted to explain a little bit about how they work and how you can reset them if they do go off accidentally. So again, at the end of the day, we're going to end up with two different boxes. These are the ones that we currently have had around. And this is a brand new box. Many of you are getting these. These are the ones that I was referring to. It's got the nice, beautiful red feline teaser string. If they do go off accidentally, or if you set them off accidentally, when it's in alarm, there's a little red light, or a little light rather, above this black button. That's going to flash, letting you know that it's an active alarm. So people are going to be getting notified that it's an alarm. To reset that, if it's accidental, if you just push the red button one time, it should go green and then back to dark. And dark is where we want it because that's normal. So just wanted to give you a quick update on that. So if you do have these boxes, you know, you do still have to pull it, but if it's an active alarm, it's strobing red. To reset it, just hit the button. These, although they do say status solutions.
What's the white button on the side do?
Oh, sorry. Thank you, Helen. Appreciate that because some other people have asked. So this is an add-on for some other feature. We're not using this. So it's just, you can't hurt it, you can't pull it or push it in. Nothing's going to happen. So it's just dead. Thank you. Thank you, Helen. On the side towards the left bottom here, that's what she's referring to. So, yep. And although these do stay status solutions on, these particular boxes do work with the new quantum system. So we are going to continue to use these. So you may see that and wonder why, oh, that's still the old system. It's not. These are actually working on the new system. So you will see both when we're done with the project. This style, so this is a lever style. So if you have an emergency, it gets pulled down, should start strobing, and I could still have a battery in this one, but it'll start strobing red as well. To reset it, you want to lift up on it, and then that'll reset it. Sally?
If you reset an alarm, does it tell the receiver of the off?
It does, yeah. Yep, so we'll get an active alarm notification and then we'll get another message saying that it's been reset.
Do you have a system for coming around for people who didn't have their pet today? The new system was, put into the cloud.
We are gonna have to do that, yeah, so we are making notes as we go, because we're gonna have to circle back around, and we have found, some that are low battery, that kind of thing, so that is gonna be something that we follow up with, yes. Yep. But on Sunrise Ridge this afternoon, if you guys do have your pets, you just wanna lay those out so we can test those when we come around, that would be greatly appreciated. I think that's all I have, unless anybody has any other questions. Kathy? Don't have that information. We have put on some blank faceplates, but if there are areas that need to be patched, we can talk about that. Yeah. There's no other questions. I'm going to turn it over to Adam. Thank y'all.
Morning, everybody. Wanted to give you a quick update on the Borden Center's quality rankings. So our most recent CMS 5-star report, which is the report you would see on Nursing Home Compare, pulls from 3 different timeframes. Quality measures are based on Q2 2024 through Q1 2025. In this report, our quality measure rating dropped from a 5-star to a 4, which lowered our overall rating from 4 stars to 3. Staffing comes from Q1 2025, and with our most recent submission, we expect to remain at 5 stars for staffing into the next report. The health inspection reflects our last survey in Q2 of 2024, which is the single biggest driver of the overall score and is scheduled by CMS at their discretion. So it's important to remember these ratings using trailing data. They reflect past quarters, not what's happening today. That's why we also look closely at what residents and families are telling us now through tools such as WeCare Connect. And so over the past 6 months, overall satisfaction in Borden was 83%, with particularly strong scores in welcoming, room readiness, and staff quality. The lowest score was in responsiveness, and that's what we're focusing improvement efforts. So be quicker with call bells, daily requests, and communication. So in short, while CMS ratings reflect the past, your feedback tells us about the present and both guide us forward. Please know our team remains fully committed to delivering the highest quality of care and service in the Borden Center, and I'm happy to answer any questions. Beth Knapp.
The 5-star, 2 rating staff, does that mean 5 stars for the number of staff, 5 stars for the quality of staff, 5 stars for the, what exactly is that? And, I mean, we're not fully staffed, though.
So the question was, how did they determine 5-star staffing? And so what we do is submit quarterly payroll-based journaling data. And so they'll look at the amount of hours, either CNAs, RNs, administrators, and then turnover. So according to CMS, yes, fully staffed and have been in the past quarters in terms of hours per resident hours that we have, staffing hours per resident hours. And so again, so we just had the past quarter I submitted. So we'll in so July, August, so the October report that comes out, we anticipate 5-star staffing to be from the previous. Again, it's trailing data. Yeah, so there's, theoretically, CMS is like the minimum, requirements and, what they accept, so Kendall, has a higher standard than, what CMS does, in particularly for staffing. this is a fluctuating, start, again, we're anticipating a health inspection. We're in the window, but I don't know if you've seen in the news, the struggles with Virginia Department of Health and their turnover that they're having. So, it could be some time still before that's affected, but I'm still gonna come up and let you know where we are with the Borden Center, as I think you all deserve and have requested. And so if you have any questions, feel free to email me or come see me anytime. I'm happy to talk about any other details. Thank you. Oh, one more. Yep. The question is about Borden 600 hallway. And so no plans at this time, though we are kind of doing an inventory to see, what we might need to put on our capital request. More to be determined, hopefully soon. All right, thanks.
All right, the CNA, we're still active. Tonight, we're going to dining out at Taps, but the bus is full. So if you didn't sign up for the bus, sorry about that. And I didn't make it either, so I'm not going to Taps tonight. But anyway, this will be our monthly dining. And next month, we're going to Jupiter Lounge. That's over at the Robert E. Hotel or the Tonic or the Gin and Tonic Hotel, or whatever they call it, but it's a Robert E. Hotel. We're gonna try the Juniper Lodge next month, and every month we'll go to a different restaurant. So if you go to a nice restaurant you think is a good deal for us residents, please let me know so we can schedule that. There's not that many restaurants in town, so we're sort of limited by that. But I want you to know that every Saturday we have the games at 1:30 in the cafe, and Sue FIFO is responsible for that. And she says she gets about 8 or 10 people to that. So obviously she could probably use a few more people. So if you're not doing anything on a Saturday about 1:30, go down by the cafe and join all the activities down there, the games they play. And then, of course, we want to thank Vic for every month. He comes up with the Saturday streaming over at Sunnyside, at Sunnyside Porch at 8 p.m. So he posts a list on our bulletin board, tell you what's coming up for that. And next week, Remington, one of our chefs down in the dining room, if you know who Remington is, he's going to give a talk on producing honey. One of his side gigs is running a honey farm. So he does produce honey for sale, and he's going to describe the whole process of getting the bees and having them produce honey, and then he makes honey for sale. So please be here next Tuesday at 4 o'clock for his presentation. And we always like to get residents to come and give a presentation to us. Yes, last night we had Catherine Brown give a talk about her talk in Slovakia, not Slovenia, but Slovakia. And so we're always interested in residents. We do a lot of traveling. If any of you do traveling and you have a nice set of slides and you want to give a presentation, please let me know and we'll schedule you. We always get a good response from any of our residents who participate in giving lectures, and and so please let me know about that. And then next month in September, we'll have our games, of course, once again, and then trivia night. On Saturday the 13th at 7 p.m. we have trivia night, and so that's once a month, and it's down in the restaurant. So if you're not doing anything on a Saturday evening about 7 o'clock, go down to the restaurant and participate in the trivia night and form a team. If you don't know enough about trivia, you know new friends who can help you out on that, you form a team and go down there and participate. We will have a lecture. The Marshall Foundation is starting their legacy lectures, and so we will participate in that on September 11th, a Thursday. There'll be a lecture on the Iraqi War lessons by a colonel who served in the Iraqi War. He'll talk about that. And so we'll continue attending the Marshall Legacy Lectures as they come up periodically about every month or so. We'll then have a talk by Lynn Butcher, one of our residents. She's going to talk about her Oxford, England experience. She's currently in Oxford now, developing new experiences and new photographs. And so when she comes back, she'll be telling us about, I don't know what she's doing over there, whether she's teaching or whether she's taking classes or whether she's just hanging around, but that's where she's at. And she'll be back to give a lecture next month on the 16th of September about being in Oxford and all of her experiences there. Once again, a resident is given a presentation about their experiences or their expertise, and that's what we're looking for. More of you are willing to do that. And then we have an organ concert at the Presbyterian Church on September 28th, and William McCorkle is going to play the organ there, and he's at the Lexington Presbyterian Church. And it's been kind of slow during the month of summer here, but once the schools are back in, starting in October, the Lenfest Center will start their programs. And so we'll be looking at what's going on at the Lenfest Center, what's going on at the Virginia Military Institute, their community theater, also at Southern Virginia University. So as they put on programs, we'll schedule them for you all to do that. The other thing I've been asked because is to talk about this Kendall Resident Association fundraiser. This is the time of the year where we're asked all residents, all of you, to make a donation to the Resident Association to fund a lot of the activities that the committees are involved in. And so we asked, and everybody has a copy of this, and so it tells you what we do. You know, we pay for the movie screenings, the Kendall concerts, because sometimes we have to pay for some of the entertainers that we get here, give them a stipend. We also, for a Christmas party, you know, that's very expensive. I put on the Christmas party. You know, it was $700 last year. I'm sure it'll be $1,000 this year. So we need some money to support the committees here. And so we also pay for the library newspaper subscriptions and a lot of other things that are listed here. So it's important that we make a donation to this charity. Now, I was thinking of having the ushers come around and pass out the collection baskets here, but I realized we don't have any ushers, and I figure you probably have more money in your checkbooks than you have in your pockets here. So we're gonna wait until you go back to your apartment. We want you to write a check. All we're asking for is 50 bucks, 50 bucks per person. That means 50 bucks for me, 50 bucks for my wife, or my husband, or my live-in, or whatever, my cat. We want 50 bucks from everybody. If we get 50 bucks from our 200 residents, we'll probably collect about $10,000, which will help us sustain us for the next year. So it's important that you write your check. You have until October, but you might as well write it right after you go home, because I know you have a few bucks in your checking account. Please spend some money now, write your check, and get it done with. Then you're finished until the next fundraiser comes out. But anyway, thank you very much.
Is TAPS tonight or next Wednesday night?
Is who? TAPS is tonight. It's what? It's tonight, right? It's not tonight?
Next Wednesday.
It's next Wednesday, whatever. It's on the bulletin board. You know, who reads the bulletin board? I don't, but anyway. Anyway, you can't go because unless there's an opening there. If you're not going to go and you signed up, please erase your name so somebody else can sign up for it. Yes, ma'am. Check out yes, you make it out to the KALEX Residents Association, KALEX Residents Association, $100 each. Or whatever you can do. You can give more. Don't worry about it. You can give more, but don't give less, please.
Is somebody watching me here? Or can I put this down? Put it down? Somebody must be watching. I'm here on behalf of the Kendall College Committee. I'm here to report the retirement of Ruth Woodcock from our Kendall College Committee. Yes, that's correct. Ruth retired. She didn't resign, she retired. She could have used as an excuse her recent medical issues that caused her to spend some time in Borden. She didn't. She simply sat down at last week's meeting of the committee and announced that she was retiring and giving someone else the chance to serve. Over the years, committee members have come and gone. Ruth's service has been different. She was a committee member from the moment the committee was created 22 years ago in 2003, and she served the committee faithfully and well. Indeed, in many ways, she's been the heart and soul of the committee. She suggests programs. She called others' attention to our then approaching 100th program in time for us to plan for it. For many years, she offered her apartment as a meeting place. Is it any surprise that Ruth lives in Kendall apartment number 1? Without email or a computer, she answers hard copies of emails the old-fashioned way, on paper in pen and ink. Ruth created the committee's rules, not on paper, but in her head. She's acted from the beginning as the committee historian and record keeper. Our 100 Kendall College programs have now expanded to 110, with the current program on nematodes, which will conclude this afternoon. I don't know for sure, but I suspect Ruth has attended all 110 programs. For our community's 25th anniversary, Ruth wrote and presented in June a celebration of Kendall College. It's printed in the current issue of Connections. I know of no one else who served a Kendall committee for its entire life, but Ruth has done so. There's probably a rule preventing it, but it was a rule not written by Ruth. I know of no one else who served a Kendall committee for 22 years, but Ruth has done so. And she's done it with insight, with wit, and with wisdom. We'll miss those qualities that Ruth brought to our committee and its meetings, and we wish her well in her retirement. And now I ask that you all stand and join me in a well-deserved round of applause for Ruth Woodcock.
Bob Jennings, Kendall College. Sorry.
That's really nice. Appreciate it.
Paul Cormier managed this.
Yes, I am Bob Gettings. You know, one of the hallmarks of our committee work is that when somebody has to step down, somebody else steps forward. We will miss Ruth Woodcock on our Kendall College committee, but Kendall College will go on. And I'm here today to talk about our next Kendall College lecture series. It will be a lecture series by Dr. Joachim Arndt, an associate professor of history at VMI. And he will deliver a 3-part lecture series on South African history in September. On September 10th, Dr. Arndt will trace the history of human settlement on the southern tip of the African continent, from early indigenous populations that have lived there for thousands of years to Dutch settlers and English settlers beginning in the mid 16th century, 1600, I'm sorry. And he will explain to us how these settlement patterns have shaped and influenced economic, political, and cultural relationships in the country. In his September 17th lecture series, Dr. Arndt will offer a more nuanced assessment of how race relationships in the country have shaped the interactions between English and Afrikaner speaking whites and the Black minority that speaks a variety of indigenous languages. In his final lecture in September 24th, Dr. Arndt will explain how the discovery of diamonds and gold in South Africa have, in the 19th century, have led to apartheid and post-apartheid influences on the economy. I think you'll find this a fascinating series because we've never concentrated on South Africa before. All this three-part series will be held as usual from 4:30 to 5:30 in the afternoon. You'll be receiving a flyer in your mail cubbies in about 10 days in advance of the first lecture series. So right around September 1st, you'll be seeing it. And I just want to remind you of, and Hardin has already mentioned it, that the final lecture in Dr. Ashley Smythe's lecture on nematodes will take place this afternoon at 4:30. So all you toadies who have been fascinated by learning about these small, tiny, sometimes long worms, I hope you'll join me in being there this afternoon. Thank you.
Olive Radish Holiday Fair.
Go ahead.
Just a couple of quick things. I've had people asking when the reservation forms for vendors will be coming out. They'll be coming out September 2nd, and they'll be due back the 31st of October for the Holiday Craft Fair. If you are wanting to make things for the hands-on table where the money all goes toward the appreciation fund, it'd be nice to let me know that you might be doing something just so I can sort of plan the table, but you do not have to do it a reservation form. Very quick. Any questions on those? Thank you.
Chip, I'm next. Chip, I'm next. I don't need it. I'm fine without it.
Sure. But I want to.
Nice way to stay on schedule is to avoid my PowerPoint presentation and just give you a quick summary. Todd summarized an awful lot of what we're doing with preventive maintenance. It's designed to focus on independent living residents, of which we have something like 160 apartments, cottages, cluster cottages. And it's designed to provide service proactively as opposed to when something stops working or breaks totally, such that it'll involve inspections, cleaning, adjustments, lubrication, etc. And it should ensure ongoing functional performance as well as longer service life. One of the burdens we're facing is appliances. In fact, there's a great article in Consumer Report, if any of you read it, used to last 15 to 20 years, and now the average life is 8 years. And I think you probably know we have an awful lot of turnover taking place. Due to staff limitations, historically, we have done reactive firefighting. However, 3+ years ago, the Facilities Committee formed a preventive maintenance subcommittee, and we began analyzing the options available and what could be done, and came up with a plan. And we conducted several selective audits of individual cottages and apartments to decide what needs to be there, and came up with a program, came up with job description, and ultimately was supported by core leadership group, Todd particularly, to hire Anthony, who just joined us within the last month. It is a strategic program. It's not going to happen overnight. Ultimately, it's going to be extremely database driven because we have so many different configurations, so many different types of appliances, so many different HVAC units. And he will come up with a list of what should be done, on what schedule, by whom. Some of what should be done could be easily done by residents. Some might be done by housekeeping staff. Some could be done by Anthony himself. Some could be done by staff. Who knows? RHR might get involved in this. And we will send periodic updates. Huge benefits. The estimate is we're going to be saving hundreds of thousands of dollars per year due to longer service life, less reactive firefighting, more proactive, extending functional life. We'd like to extend our thanks, obviously, to Todd and core leadership team's support of the strategic initiative. We have 8 members of the PMP subcommittee who have met very frequently, conducted audits, particularly with resident engagement and support of this program, and particularly now and into the future of Anthony and those of us who help him. Any questions? Thank you. Now.
This humanitarian announcement may sound a little political to you, and in case that concerns you, yes, I have permission to speak to you on this subject, and that's why I'm officially on the written agenda for today. But, you know, 3.5 years ago, Congress passed a law to allow Americans to bring 100,000 Ukrainians at risk to our country. And we here in Lexington formed a group of volunteers to do that, and we brought 4 families to Lexington. One of those families, you know, that's Ina and Elia, who work down in our dining room. They are here on what's called temporary protected status. That gets extended from time to time by Congress. Hopefully, it's happened once. It's going to expire a year from October next year, 14 months from now. Unless Congress acts, Ina and Elia will have to leave the country. They want to stay here. So there is a bipartisan bill that's been introduced in Congress to streamline the procedure for them to become legal permanent residents. That's HR 3104. I have a copy of it here in case anybody would like to see it. It's called an Act for Adjusting the Status of Ukrainians in 2025. And so we want to get our local congressmen to support this bill and vote for it. And so I have petitions that I'm asking you to sign, urging you to sign, which will be of direct benefit to Ina and Elia. There are copies of the petition on the table and back and pens there. You could, and I'll stick around after the meeting. You can ask me anything you want about the Ukrainians. I've been involved with them right from the start. I also have copies of the petition in my wooden Kendall mailbox out there, and a little blue sign so you can find my box easily. But in the next couple of days, I'd ask you to consider signing this. Sign it if you will. And you can stop me in the hall or any place you want. We'll talk about the Ukrainians as much as you'd like. But I'd like to wrap this up and submit these petitions a week from today. So thank you very much.
Finally get in front of this with a story for you guys instead of trying to fix things. So my topic is Kendall Connect calendar integration. How many people are confused? What this is basically, there's a new feature in Kendall Connect that lets you take events that you want to join and go to on that are listed in Kendall Connect and get them into your own local calendars automatically. So now instead of having to go, you look at your calendar and say, am I free on this time? And then say, well, I forgot about this event I was going to attend. You can integrate those together. And I'm just going to walk through this quickly. There's an article that John McGrain, myself, and Sheridan wrote that will be in September's connections that will spell out more. The help is very good. So again, it's a combined calendar. So instead of looking at different spots, you can look in one day and see what do I have going on both at Kendall and your doctor's appointments and all your other personal events. Currently, it's for these particular calendars. Any Apple users that support, you could put it into your Apple calendar. If you have a Google Calendar, which is probably most of us, it'll go into that, and anybody with Microsoft Outlook, it'll go into those particular calendars. I'm just gonna go through a couple of quick slides. I'm not gonna show you how to do it, but just to give an example of what it would look like. So the first thing you do in Kendall Connect is there's the calendar with all the events. Go to the event that you're interested in, click on the little tab that says I'm going. That's all you have to do. So let's say, in this case, this is the Furnishings and Interiors Committee, and that committee, don't worry, I'm not going, but this is just my example. So you click here, and that's all you have to do to tell Kendall Connect that you're interested and you're going to this particular event. It'll put it in your local calendar in Kendall Connect. So go through that. Recurring events like furnishings, it'll remember to each month put you in the calendar for the next time that those occur. If the event gets canceled or something, it'll get moved off your calendar automatically. So it's a good way to do it. So you go through all the events and click on that you're going. Interesting thing, you'll be able to see who else is going to the events on that side. And then the next thing you do is in Kendall Connect, under your personal profile, that's where you go to look for your points. If you scroll down there, there's this option that says copy your calendar. So depending if you're a Google or Apple user, click the copy button next to there, and that will save you the information of how to get this calendar moved over into your other system. And then you go into your other calendar, either Apple, or in this case, this is the Google Calendar, and I select the option to add a calendar, and I paste in that URL that I just copied from there. And now all of those events that you said you're going to go to in Kendall Connect show up in your calendar, and it'll look like this here. What I would suggest you do when you do it is maybe select that calendar to be a dark green, the Kendall green color, so remind you that these are Kendall events. And then the end result would be something like this. This is my calendar for the week. The ones in green are all the Kendall events. The ones in purple are my personal events. The ones in orange are Pam, my wife's events. So it's an example of I can now go here and look at one calendar and know, like today, you know, I've got there's Residents Association in Kendall College, and so you can quickly see that, and that's all you have to do. So now you just select those and you get the information. Questions? It is really pretty simple. It is pretty simple. But again, there'll be an article, and the help within Kendall Connect is pretty good also on that one. Bruce.
Are you saying basically that we're linking the Kendall Connect activities calendar with the activities calendar, which we might use in our Apple or our Google?
Yes.
Okay. And that we can now log on to Kendall Connect and we'll see our whole life displayed?
No. It's a different direction. It goes from a Kendall Connect into your personal calendar. We're not taking your personal calendar and putting it up on Kendall Connect for everybody to look at. Good question. But one thing while I'm on Kendall Connect, what I wanted to do is recognize a couple of employees who really helped with Kendall Connect. If everyone remembers back in November, when the very inelegant way it came out that Katie's gonna go away. And everybody was like, no, you can't do that. I like Katie, you can't go away. What are you gonna do? Well, it's now, what is it, August, and Katie's been gone away for a while, and we've all survived, and I think we may have been striving better on that. But there's a couple of employees I would really like to thank for their efforts, particularly because the transition from Katie to Kendall Connect was not in their job descriptions. The first one is Stephanie Wright. Stephanie, her title is executive assistant, but she's been very invaluable in getting content into that. But imagine what Stephanie's life's been like since November. I mean, she's had go through 3 CEOs, including higher ones, and she's still able to find the time to help add events into Kendall Connect and keep it up to date with all the information. So I think one round for her. The other one is Sheridan. Sheridan, her title is IL Care Coordinator. Nothing in there says about website maintenance, updates, any of that stuff, conversions, all that. She helped to take on this also. And also, while she was doing this, a new job, she also did a little thing of getting married and going on a honeymoon in the midst of this process. So I think a big round of applause for those 2 employees that really did a lot for the job. Becky wasn't very part of it, but we forget very quickly. She retired, so she's not an employee anymore. So this is current employee. And Becky's job was sort of very much related to doing Katie stuff. So, I mean, she was very much involved, but I wanted to bring up these two because they went sort of, to me, above and beyond, expanded their comfort zone, if you will, to take on a real key project without, you know, something that definitely was not in their job description.
Thank you. And I would like to add our highest paid employee, Vic Crane, for all of his help he does. Just can't beat that price. Sincerely, thank you so much, all of our staff and all of our residents who contribute so much to all of us collectively. Thank you. We just did pass the time. Meeting adjourned.